look at that. Karen's got the wrong date. Shocking, I know. Hold on. Let me just fix that real quick. I'm a little bit tardy today. You'll have to excuse my tardiness. It happens sometimes. I'm up for a couple of hours before this stream starts every time, so I'm trying to get stuff done typically most of the time before the stream starts, but it doesn't always work out that way. But thank you all for joining me here once again on Coffee Talk, Flat Talk, Conspiracy Talk, Truth Talk, whatever you want to call it. The BS Free Zone. Cheers, Rachel. Thank you for the tip, Centralville. Oh, High Rising. Brian Stavely, Grounded Extracts, Mark Wantraba, Valley Parks, Tom Nixon, Mother Dragon. The moon will be full on Wednesday. Yes. Benjamin Crossland, thank you for being here. Artist Seer, Happy Rising. Hope you all had a good strengthened. Yes. Cold Brews, Grand Rising. Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Hallmark holiday. Brian says, we love NASA. I don't know why you're saying that. Please stop saying that. Don't ever say that again, actually. Can you just never say that ever again? Thank you. I actually was going to talk about NASA a little bit this morning. It's so funny. The ridiculous shit that NASA puts out. Just all their ridiculous propaganda. The propaganda that they put out every chance they get, ridiculous stuff. I mean, and this is for like the total mindless masses, right? Like, look at this. What is this? NASA shares a viral video of pepperoni storm on Jupiter. Just in time for pizza day, you guys. Can you believe this crap? Just like they had the asteroid that was wearing a mask and the Jack-o'-lantern nebula, and now they've got fucking Jupiter's North Pole pizza storm for pizza day. And we all know how much the elites love their fucking pizza, don't we? They're sick. They're sick. And this is just another, hey, F you. Just another F you to you guys. Right? NASA clowns. Exactly. So, hello. Good to see y'all. Today is February 14th. Moonday, February 14th, 2022. And yeah, the moon is almost full and the temperature is dropping. Has anybody noticed this? Because, and I've been paying attention to this for a while. We all know that moonlight is cooling, right? Because there's dozens and dozens and dozens of people recording them doing the moonlight temperature measurement, where it is actually cooler in the moonlight than it is in the moon shade at night during a full moon. So it has the opposite effect of sunlight, right? Sunlight is warming and then it's cool in the sun shade, but moonlight is cooling and then it's a little bit warmer in the moon shade. So that right there is a huge clue that this place is not what they tell us it is. Anyway, yeah, 96% waxing will be full on Wednesday. I expect the temperatures to stay cool and maybe even drop a little bit more, because like it was warming up this last week. It was warming up this last week, right? It was great. We were talking about this on some other stream. I don't even remember which one. Maybe it was anti-religious scripture study, but it had warmed up and the birds were coming out and singing. And then here comes the moon, the full moon again, and temperatures have dropped again. And we are still in that sort of transition phase, right? Where the sun is still on its way back to north of the equator. So it's still a bit out there from us. So it's like, I feel like, it kind of makes sense why it doesn't know if it wants to be warm or cold, or you still kind of get those fluctuations in between because, we're in that transition phase and the moon is coming in here to make things cooler for us. Makes sense to me. Right? Hi, Mark Wood. Flat gang, baby. Yeah. Is it a Papa John? Yeah. No, I think it's because the moon we're almost at full moon. That's why I think the temperature is dropping again. That's just my opinion. Pay attention to that. In fact, it's something I'll try to remember to talk about here. Since I do point out the moon phase every day when I do the stream, we can also check the temperatures and we'll see. I bet you will notice that because I've noticed this myself, just looking at stuff, just for my own confirmation of it, right? If you just pay attention to it in your area, I guarantee you'll see it. At least I would think so. Maybe in areas where it's like further south, where it's tropical, I don't know how much of a fluctuation it would be, but because it stays the temperatures stay pretty moderate in areas like that for the most part, but you never know. But I think it definitely makes a difference where I am. Benjamin Crossland says, got naked under a tree last night when freezing. Not cold at all in the shadow, doing some grounding. What we have been told is a lie, right? It's a trip. It's a trip if you pay attention to these subtle things. Like once you know that everything is small and local, once you know we live in an enclosed environment, which is what they tell you anyway, the Earth system is closed, but then somehow it's next to the vacuum of space, which is 10 to the negative 17 torr difference in pressure from sea level, which is 14.7 psi at sea level, and then 10 to the negative 17 torr out in space, which is 76 quintillion times difference. Yet our atmosphere doesn't get sucked away. Gravity holds it in place. No. The only way you can measure PSI is because there's pressure, which means you need something to, to create the pressure. You need a container to create the pressure, which something presses upon. It's just like Ken Wheeler. If you watch Ken Wheeler, it talks about pressure mediation, how it's like a major part of how everything works in this realm, and it is. And you wouldn't have pressure mediation if you didn't have a container to mediate the pressure. That's just my opinion. Makes sense to me. What do you guys think? Cold in Florida when it gets below 80. Yeah, well, it could be because it's the getting to the full moon phase. And I'm telling you, that does cool things down quite a bit. Quite a bit. In other NASA fuckery today, do you guys want to see what other NASA fuckery there is? Check this out. 1 million miles away, NASA James Telescope snaps its first space selfie. Space selfie. Yes, they want you to think that taking a space selfie is normal. Well, it's just not. And this is their space selfie. Snapped its first selfie from orbit. NASA released a self-portrait Friday along with several mosaic images that the telescope captured while gazing at its first star. The images were taken as part of a months-long process to assess the health of the observatory's various mirrors and measurements. Nearly 50 days after Webb launched into space, the photos are early indicators that it's functioning and as expected and is ready to begin its mission. What is up with that? The selfie was created using a specialized pupil imaging lens inside the NIR cam instrument that was designed to take images of the primary mirror segments instead of images of space. Oh, it's the pupil. Oh, and there's only one there, so is that their one eye symbolism that they're flashing at you? Here's our one eye symbol picture that's taken of the specialized pupil lens, with a specialized pupil lens. The amazing telescope has not only spread its wings, but it has now opened its eyes. Well, at least one of them. It opened one eye. Measuring more than 21 feet across, its honeycomb-shaped primary mirror is designed to collect the focus light from objects in the cosmos to fit inside its rocket for launch. However, the telescope's mirror, along with several other components, are carefully folded up. Over the course of several weeks, as the telescope journeyed into its final destination in orbit around the sun, it delicately unfurled. Each of its telescope's 18 gold-coated hexagonal mirror segments were moved into space. Blah, blah, blah. Bullshit, bullshit, bullshit. Why did that change? And then here's some first pictures. Oh, isn't that special? Look at how amazing those pictures are. I've never seen anything so beautiful. Wow. Space. Over the coming months, Webb's instruments will be fully calibrated, and its primary mirror will need to achieve an ultra-precise alignment to function its one single entity. Once that happens, its images will become clearer and packed with more detail. The mission's first scientific images are expected to be released in summer. So far, the $10 billion observatory appears to be healthy and operating well, but Feinberg said there is still much more work to be done. Right? We have a lot of computer rendering to do before we can release the first images of our James Webb Telescope. Yes. We have our artists working 24/7 to render their best idea of what space looks like for you. We are designing the new state-of-the-art, most advanced, newest adult cartoons of space for your programming pleasure. What do you think about that? I think that's really silly. Hold on one sec here. Need to bring this over here. Get my windows in order. Don't need that open. All right. NASA, never a straight answer, right? Their prediction, a missile booster from FakeX is going to hit the moon March 4th, but wait, oh no, that's right, I heard about that. I just thought that the space selfie article was funny because I actually made a video called Space Selfie a while ago. Do you guys remember that? It was a silly little 10-minute video. Why is this open? Hold on. I'll go back to my share screen. By the way, I have my number up, so I might as well open the phones, I guess. Because it's always good to talk to my people. 1 second. Alrighty. All right. Anyway, let's take a look at that. That was who reminded me of that. Thank you for reminding me of that, because there was something else that they were putting out that I wanted to look up, and now I can't remember what the other thing was. It was yeah, the booster. Oh, and then they're also saying, even how many would say. They're also saying that aren't they saying they're gonna crash the ISS? So here, let me look that up. NASA plans to crash the ISS into the spacecraft cemetery in 2031. I would like to see that. Is there a NASA article about that bullshit? I mean, not that it would be any more true than any other article, but it seems like everybody's writing articles about it except for NASA. Right? Well, I guess we'll just go to Criminal News Network. Let's look at what they're saying. NASA plans to retire the International Space Station by 2031 by crashing it into the Pacific Ocean. Yeah, NASA intends to keep operating the International Space Station until the end of 2030. 2030. What else goes on in 2030? What else is supposed to happen in 2030? Where they won't need the ISS anymore. Would be crashed into a remote part of the Pacific Ocean known as Point Nemo, according to newly published plans outlining its future. Launched in 2000, the Space Lab has orbited 227 nautical miles above Earth with more than 200 astronauts, actronauts from 19 different countries enjoying stints aboard, representing a continuous human presence in space. NASA said that commercially operated space platforms would replace the ISS as a venue for collaboration and scientific research. Oh, commercially operated space platforms, huh? So what are they going to have? They're going to have like a space lab? The private sector is technically and financially capable of developing and operating commercial low Earth orbit destinations with NASA's assistance. Of course, with NASA's assistance. You're not allowed to do anything without NASA's assistance. We look forward to sharing our lessons learned in operations experience with the private sector to help them develop safe, reliable, cost-effective destinations in space. Right. Space Graveyard. The International Space Station will transport... International Space Station Transition Report. Oh, here we go. Is this it? Oh yeah, here we go. NASA.gov. The International Space Station Transition Report. The next decade. Transition plan. Inspire humankind. I almost want to skip right to the end where it says inspire humankind. Like, give me a break. The International Space Station, the next decade. This report responds to direction of the National Aeronautics and Space Administration Transition Authorization Act of 2017, the Hereafter Act. Section 303. 33, anyone? To submit to Congress to report evaluating the International Space Station as a platform for research, deep space exploration, and low Earth orbit spaceflight, in partnership with its 4 International Space Agency partners and commercial space sector. Enable deep space. The ISS have 5 major mission goals, each of which would realize significant advances in the next decade. Enable deep space exploration, conduct research to benefit humanity, foster a U.S. commercial space industry, and lead and enable international collaboration and inspire humankind. The extension of ISS operations through 2030 is a decision that is intended to continue to return these benefits to the United States and to humanity as a whole. Like, what is it? Like, well, it depends on if you guys keep buying our bullshit. Well, if you guys keep buying our bullshit, then we'll keep doing it. And if you guys don't seem to really be buying our bullshit anymore, well, then we'll just crash that bullshit into the ocean and then we'll make up some whole new other bullshit. The United States on-orbit segment and functional cargo block life extension analysis for the time period through 2028 have been completed with no issues identified that would preclude extension through 2030. Blah, blah, blah. The ISS itself has been recently upgraded with new commercial airlock, a new Russian... How do you do a new airlock? What do you do in between having the old airlock and the new airlock in 10 to the negative 17 torr? I'm just wondering. Or are you still in the atmosphere at that point? Because they try to sell us the moon's in the atmosphere, so it's not really a vacuum anymore. Remember they were plugging a hole in the ISS with their fucking finger? I want to see what their Inspire Humanity bullshit says. NASA's goal is to partner with existing ISS international partners as well as new interested country partners in areas of mutual benefit. There's no benefit. I mean, how much freaking lettuce can you grow in space? This public-private partnership for the early phase of CLD development. What's CLD stand for? I skipped where they only ever say what their thing means once. Transition to CLDs. Commercial something, right? Blue Origin, NanoRacks, Northrop Grumman, which is a big military contractor. Commercial LEO destinations. Okay. So they're going to transition to commercial LEO destinations. Okay, so they're saying now that they're going to have multiple low Earth orbit destinations. So that's what CLD is, commercial LEO destination. So this is hilarious. So they're going to work with all these contractors to set up their CLDs, right? To more future CLDs such that no gap in the government's ability to use low Earth orbit space platforms is experienced, right? So we can't have any gap in our ability to be like the all-seeing eye in the sky, right? So we got to make sure that there's no lap. Listen, I don't doubt that there are things up there that can stay up there indefinitely, but they aren't in freaking space. They aren't orbiting a ball, and they're certainly not 227 miles up. They are definitely not that high up. That's a freaking lie. So, after Axiom, Blue Origin, NanoRacks, and Northrop Grumman have matured their designs and business models over the next 3 to 4 years, NASA intends to have second phase of activity whereby the agency contracts with one or more entities to certify their designs as safe to purchase services from the CLD providers. This second phase, which will be a full and open competition, here we go, more space competition. Remember what happened with SpaceX? What was it? Or not SpaceX. Whoa. What was that competition called? Was it SpaceX? I can't remember. Where it was like, God, it was so long ago. Anyway, um, SpaceX and Boeing for Commercial Crew Program. The second phase, which will be full and open competition, is similar to the Commercial Crew Transportation Capabilities contracts NASA awarded to SpaceX. Oh, there I answered my own question. Boeing for the Commercial Crew Program. Thus, the agency is building on the successful legacy of our commercial crew and cargo programs that are currently delivering import research supplies and NASA, blah, blah, blah. These activities will enable the development of commercially owned and operated LEO destinations that are safe, reliable, and cost effective. So they want to have like multiple, basically what they're trying to have is like multiple ISSs, but they won't be called ISS. They'll be called CLDs, commercial low Earth orbit destinations. NASA is refining its forecasting future NASA demand in low Earth orbit. Crazy. At least one CLD capable of meeting ongoing NASA. This is crazy. Oh, look at this. Oh, here we go. Look, they even got a little picture. It looks like a little mini space station. Wow. NASA Human Research. Multiple subjects for varied duration. Okay, so they want to experiment on people. Purchase accommodation for ongoing decadal-driven science. Transfer hardware or purchase commercial facility services. Wow. Over the next 5 to 7 years, NASA will enable these critical elements that support the CLDs and user base for them in LEO and will ensure that national capability provided by the ISS continues to be available for use. There is a risk associated with relying on private companies to develop LEO destinations as well as to provide a national lab-like facility. However, the same risk was present in relying on private companies to develop cargo and crew transportation to ISS, as well as research capabilities that NASA uses today. Right, so it doesn't matter, because we're not really going to space. So don't worry about it. It's all bullshit anyway. We just have to make it look really good. Space transportation includes crew and cargo transportation to and from the ISS, including commercial crew program and crew cargo program. This funding line is displayed as declining because NASA's current assumption is that CLD services contracts will include transportation if one or more of the providers that NASA contracts with provide to LEO does not include transportation as part of its agency, blah, blah, blah. This is not interesting. I want to see the inspiring humanity bullshit. ISS average altitude estimates targeting re-entry early 2031 in kilometers. Look at. So it's just gonna fall gradually over a year. Come on. 95th atmosphere. 5th atmosphere, 50th atmosphere. What? ISS point of no return. In the normal scenario, ISS mission control will begin scheduling retrograde rather than posigrade ISS maneuvers in the lead up to ISS deorbit to begin slowly lowering the operational altitude of the ISS. Figure 4 shows that these retrograde maneuvers may start at different times depending on solar cycle activity and its effect on Earth's atmosphere. Higher solar activity tends to expand the Earth's atmosphere and increase resistance to the ISS velocity, resulting in more drag and natural altitude loss. This lower altitude results in higher velocity overall. Eventually, after performing maneuvers to line up to the final target, a ground track debris footprint over the South Pacific uninhabited area. South Pacific Oceanic uninhabited area, the deep southern Pacific. They hide all kinds of shit down there, don't they? The area around Point Nemo, ISS operators will perform the ISS re-entry burn, providing the final push to lower ISS as much as possible and ensure safe atmospheric re-entry. Blah, blah, blah. Extra visiting vehicles beyond the regular cadence of traffic to the ISS. So, don't they say that they have to work to keep the ISS in orbit? Don't they say that they have to like boost it? Like it's always dropping towards the Earth, right? So they have to like push it back out into... This is their bullshit story, right? They have to push it back out once in a while. So why then now do they have to send extra vehicles to take it out of orbit? Wouldn't they just like let it fall? I don't get it. Now they have to, because it just doesn't make any sense. So 3 can accomplish deorbit, whatever. Just another way to burn more budget money, more black ops money, whatever, more bullshit. "3.1 Enable deep space exploration. Goals through 2030. Successfully test and validate critical exploration technologies such as environmental control and life support systems." Commercial lying department. Hi, Rose. Gotta get Christian Knapp to come down here for Louisiana for jamming. Yeah. I got an email this morning that started really great, talking about how the ISS is a cover-up, and I was nodding my head and going, yes, indeed it is, and then the emailer went full alien. Yeah. Maybe they learned from the moon landings that they need to keep the technology this time, right? Right? What exactly? Dude, that would be hilarious if they crashed the ISS and they were like, yeah, we would go into orbit in a nanosecond, but we destroyed that technology and it's a painful process to build it back up again. Could you just see? I could totally just see that happening. Yeah. By the way, I almost forgot that I did, start my stream on YouTube. I'm gonna end it though, just so you know. I'm not gonna keep it going. But I did want to start the stream on YouTube to remind you all that I do this coffee talk every Monday. Every Monday I'm here at 9:30 a.m. unless I'm a little bit late like I was today. And I talk about stuff. I talk about all kinds of stuff, all kinds of different stuff, but I usually don't stream on YouTube because YouTube censorship is absolutely insane. And quite often, you know, because I don't like to censor myself, I end up saying things that get me kicked off YouTube. So, shout out to everybody who is there on YouTube. In a minute, I'm going to end this stream, and I would really appreciate it if you all would possibly go over to Rockfin, where where that's a place that we love our free speech, and they support us, and they don't take down any of my material. If you are, however, super poor, don't want to pay any monthly subscriptions, or you just hate Rockfin, you can always go over to Twitch, and you can watch on Twitch. Twitch does not, however, save the stream, but it is an alternative to watch live to Rockfin and YouTube. Heard you guys were all shills. Yeah. Okay, I will do that. But shout out to everybody over here in the YouTube chat. Let me give a shout out. Alliance Creed, Doc Michael, Brian Stavely, BCB, Mad Pie Man, Commercial Sound and Video, Bit of Venom, Chicago Artist, Catherine M, Valley Parks, Truth Bear, Swamp Lover, the Gnostic Church and Academy of Lord Jesus Christ. Hey, that's Marty. When they built the ISS, what was the plan to bring it home when it reached its prime? Just let it fall back to Earth and land in downtown Chicago? Ha! So at some point, eyes is way. Yes, I'm totally trolling the world with 666 in my call-in number. Phones are open, by the way. Anybody who wants to call in, I would love to talk to you if you want to call in. 227 nautical miles, 22 divided by 7 is pi. Pi is the 49th prime, and 49 is 7 squared. Leo is the constellation of the lion and represents your heart. These people are beyond sick. Yeah, see, there's all kinds of hidden crap in these things, right? Marty knows. He sees it. They put all that stuff in their bullshit stories, right? All right. Yeah. Well, nobody wants to call in and talk to me? That's fine. Post-ISS plan. ISS technology demonstration fly-off plan. What kind of garbage is this? Thanks for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B. Who's this?
Hey, good morning, Karen. Benjamin Crosland here. Just wanted to talk. You talked about the shills briefly.
The what?
I watched the video. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I talked about the what?
You briefly just brought up the word shill. And it's like this truth community or being awareness or being woke. It's just insane from my perspective how many people talk about this shill or, there's these, these clowns, CIA ops that go into it. I mean, you even talk about, last week, the truckers. Mm-hmm. And it's such a hard thing. I watched a video yesterday on another great flat earther, and it was Eric DeBay, and he was talking about Mark Sargent being a shill, and it just such. And I'm not saying anyone is or isn't. I have no clue, but it's like they always tell us, to look outside ourselves, for the answer. Whoever they are, they always like, you need to go out there and find it. And it's always like, yeah, I need, and they brought up, for instance, it was hilarious to me, but they brought up Mark Sargent, had to go to Crow for answers about the moon being a reflection or a hologram. And it just, there's so many people in this world, I have to put big props out to Crow who have opened my eyes to certain things. And it's like, I have to go within to find the answers. You have to go within yourself. And it's always such a bizarre thing to me, shill. And it's like another person will tell you the answer, even in the chat, you make a comment, there'll be like 10 people, crushing whatever might be your perspective. And it's, and to me, and it's like, it's like recently I saw, a Mason symbol of being the apprentice. And it was, Eric Debay. I'm not going to go to Eric Debay for all the answers. I'm not going to go to Crow for all the answers. Right. But it's like certain things you go and you see the truth of it. And it's almost like, man, Eric Debay put a symbol out there that so the Masons symbol, and it was like Mark Sargent made the symbol too. It's like putting his arm out there flat, out in front of his body.
Oh, this?
And that's the apprentice symbol. And it's like, it's
not. See, that's the thing. No, it's not. It's not the same thing. Because if you look up the Mason thing, it's like they do it like this and it's a motion. Like it's a whole motion, that Mason thing. It's got nothing to do with being flat. Like a lot of people we just were like, hey, it's flat, right? Like none of us are Masons. We didn't even know that was a thing until after everybody started doing that. And everybody was like, oh my God, that's so ridiculous, right? Like we didn't even know. Most of us didn't know. We had no idea. See, and it's like, there's all these signs and symbols and they're all over the place and sometimes are so unavoidable, like doing this with your hand. Like we grew up going, oh yeah, that's okay, cool. Like, right. But now it's like, I have trained myself to not ever do that because if you do it, people will be like, oh, you're throwing the 666, right? Even though for 35 years of my life, I had never associated that with anything bad or evil. I had no idea. And so then you have this like muscle memory thing that's built in and you start doing stuff and everybody wants to call you a shill because you do it, and it's just ridiculous. This is, I try not to get into the shill calling thing. I really don't. I have people that I respect and people that I don't. Obviously, I love Mark. Mark is my friend. I do a show with Mark every Tuesday. I've had Mark in my home.
I think Mark's great. I don't think Mark's a shill at all. In fact, I don't know if anyone's really a shill. I mean, I just think people have a certain awareness at a certain point of their life, and they think what they're doing at that particular point is really, really a great thing. But they're either on a fall or on a rising. And, it's like that symbol. When I see that symbol of Flat Earth yesterday of the apprentice, I was thinking, oh, my goodness, the Flat Earth concept for me, that flat, the plane of that Mason symbol. I don't know about Masons. I'm not saying anything's bad or good about them, but I'm just saying when I saw that, I was like, oh my gosh, that was the point of my life when I became aware of my surroundings, that I became aware of the falsehoods of what this reality can be. And I was just like, oh my goodness, it is. For me, it was me being the apprentice and discovering what this place started becoming to me, which is it is a magical place. It is so beautiful how you look at it. I mean, you could see the evil darkness of being under an authority or being the authority yourself, and that is what this whole started for me of the Flat Earth was, of being the apprentice of the Flat Earth, of discovering where we are, of this land. And it has to be an awareness that you discover. You can't go to an authority outside yourself to accept something being true until you have an awareness of it. And I just thought everything just becomes more and more beautiful. There's like more discovery or more awareness instead of all the falsehoods. You're like, oh my goodness, everything hasn't been discovered. I can go out there and discover things. I can go out there and find things out that are true because I mean, growing up, you always been told, oh, this textbook, this book, you have to go in education to discover the truth. You have to be told by a professor, this is the truth. And it's like, oh my goodness, there's so much things out there that it's like, I mean, it's like what I said in the chat today is like, oh my goodness, under a canopy of a tree where it was literally 5 degrees outside, the canopy of a pine tree was completely warm underneath. And it was just like, how was that possible? You know, I'm like, it's the first time I've ever done it. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, it's completely warm underneath here, under the canopy of a pine tree. And it's warm, literally warm. And then you go outside with the tree and it's cold. I'm like, this place is so bizarre and it's so beautifully magical. And it's like, we've always been told, you know, it's like Super Bowl yesterday. I could not watch that. You know, I played football, you know, and I just saw how bad it is. I'm like, I'm not going to go get programmed to watch that damn show. And it's just like, I need to go outside. And I became aware of something beautiful last night for the first time in my life, besides sitting there like I've done every year of my life until then, and watch the Super Bowl. And I became so aware of something beautiful. And it's from nature. And, you know, it's like a beautiful concept of, like Crow always says, there's no lie in nature. You can discover a truth that you have to become aware of. And it's nothing that you can ever say is true until you actually have an awareness of. And it's just amazing. And, you know, I just love your show and what you've, I don't know. I just love talking about, because I have no one to talk to. When I start talking like this, people think I'm crazy. Yeah. And it's just beautiful to have you providing a platform for me to be able to express things that I couldn't express otherwise. So thank you so much.
Right on. Cool. Thanks for calling.
Bye.
Bye. I actually agree with what he said. This place is so much cooler and so much more beautiful and there is so much magic here that we were totally oblivious to most of our lives because it was hidden from us. They lied to us about who we really are, where we really are, what this place really is, how it really works. I mean, there's a lot. They completely made up a whole false reality that completely covered up the true nature of reality from us when it's right here under our noses the entire time. I mean, it is mind-boggling to think about what has happened to us. But on the other hand, you got to be thankful that we at least had we have the eyes to see and we were able to wake up and see through it. Because as much as it sucks to find out that you've been lied to your entire life about everything, once you get over that part, because I certainly did have to go through a transition phase. Like I was like, oh my God, I'm so depressed. Like, I can't believe I fell for this. How did we not know? How is everybody believing it? It was just like, it can be overwhelming when you realize like, wow, just wow. But then after that, when you come out on the other side of it, it's like, you start to shed the fear. You know, you realize that the asteroid that is coming danger close to Earth every month doesn't exist. No asteroid had hit the Earth to make the dinosaurs go extinct, because that was a bullshit story. So no asteroid is ever going to hit the Earth to make us go extinct. The Earth is here for us. It was created for us. It provides a home for us. It protects us. It provides life. It is not trying to kill us. Space is not trying to kill you, and so once you rest in that, once you become comfortable in that truth, and then, you realize that there is a creator who made all this for you and then made you in their likeness so that you actually have special privileges here in this realm compared to most of the other things that live here, then it becomes a cool place. Then it's like, all right, this is cool. It's like what he said when you wake up in your truth that, that you are the supreme power over yourself. Nobody has power over you. That's a huge, huge thing. And that's a great point. So I liked that call. Very good. Even though it didn't start out so good, I thought he was going to start shill calling my friends, and I thought I was going to have to freak out, but he didn't. It was cool. Hey, Benjamin Balderson. What's going on? So anyway, yeah, man, there's truly the stages of grief. Like once, dude, I had to grieve. You had to grieve that reality, man. I had to grieve the reality that I thought I was living in. I had to break up with space because I was a huge nerd, space nerd. You know, just like Eddie Bravo talks about him and Toe Rogan watching those space documentaries on Discovery. I did that too. Guilty for falling for the adult space cartoons programming. Fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. Was all into it, and then I had to break up with space. Because if you're honest with yourself and you really start asking questions and keep asking questions and don't take, some sort of BS confirmation bias answer to just sort of, reinforce the lie that you would rather believe in, and you actually accept the truth for what you find, well, that's where it leads. It leads to a geocentric level, stationary, enclosed Earth. Probably, people like to say it's infinite plane. I can't rule it out, but you can't prove it either. Just the whole gas pressure thing, there at least has to be a top and a bottom, and maybe the sides are further out than what we know. Maybe the sides extend out quite some time, but there's a top and a bottom. We can only go so high and we can only go so low. As far as going out, nobody I know has ever gone beyond Antarctica, so that's up in the air, right? But it's just not like what that caller was talking about. Not everything has been discovered, or if it has been discovered, they're still hiding it. So we still have things to discover. We still have truths and places to discover. Right? Okay, it's been 1 hour on YouTube. I'm going to end the YouTube stream. I would really, really appreciate it if you guys would follow me to another platform where we can express ourselves freely. We can talk about things freely. We don't have to worry about being told that we can't talk about certain things, or my channel being deleted and all my hard work being flushed down the toilet. Star Wars was my favorite movie too. Man, Star Wars was number one movie in the box office the year that I was born. Thank you for calling Coffee Talk. You're on with Karen B. Who's this?
Hey, Karen, it's Kevin. How are you?
Hey, good. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. Man, that last caller, it was funny. I thought it was going to go off the rails. I can tell you're in your mind, you were like, I'm going to have to ditch this dude. But but it turned out to be a great call, and he just brought up some things that helped me in my awakening. That whole moonlight thing, that is the one that really, truly blew my mind. Because we are all taught that it's a reflection of the sun. That's why we see the moon. So logically, it would have to, just like Mark Sargent says, it would have to be at least the same temperature or warmer. It being colder is an impossibility. It just can't be that. And then whenever I tested it, because I went into solar for a little bit, and I would have to go in people's attics and, measure the temperature. And I had one of those laser thermometers. So I went outside in Florida, full moon, I think it was in January. And yeah, it was between 8 and 12 degrees difference on the nights that I did it. And I made sure that I did it whenever, the moon was like at, 90 to 100% full. And it just absolutely blew my mind, because I even took different materials. I took water, a piece of metal, styrofoam, wood, concrete, and every single time in the shade or in the moonlight, the difference was, literally night and day with the temperature on these things. And so I've seen some people on the internet saying, well, it transmutes and
those thermometers aren't actually accurate. It's just like,
Right.
give me a fucking break here. You know, I mean, the amount of defense and cognitive dissonance when it comes down to this shit, they just absolutely cannot handle it. And it's astonishing the amount of resistance that there is to this.
Yeah, for real.
And I mean, but yeah, that moon thing, and I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna go try sitting out by a tree naked and see if I can feel just how warm it is. I've never done that. Now I did actually, like myself, go outside with my shirt off and stood in the moonlight and went in the shade. And yeah, I didn't have that chill on the surface of my skin. I mean, I can't say that I was freezing, but there was definitely like a little bit of a draftiness, if you will, to the temperature.
Yeah.
And
well, it's usually like a couple of degrees difference at least. And I can tell the difference between a couple degrees. Like in my house, if you have your temperature set and it's below, what you're used to, and you're like, oh, it feels cold in here, and it'll only be like 1 or 2 degrees, right? Between like 69 and 71 or 72. At least I noticed it.
And I like it warm in my places, and I usually keep it around 72. But the difference between 72 and 75 inside is a big difference.
Mm-hmm.
So it's we are very sensitive to that stuff, and but it just blows my mind that we have been lied to on the scale that we've been lied to, and that is the hardest thing to get over. Because, I hear it all the time. We are naturally good-natured people. We don't want to believe that there can be a deception like this. But it's absolutely true. Everything we've ever been told has been a lie. And it's not because all these teachers and professors were in on it. They are just repeating what they were told.
Mm-hmm.
And when you go back to the Rockefeller Foundation and how they manipulated the price of textbooks, because if you really, college textbooks are very expensive.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
But they're still even subsidized. But the cost to print a book, it's probably thousands of dollars to put together, a 500-page book, real high quality, glossy pictures, licensing and all that shit to get these things done.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
So if you got to look at it down at that fundamental level, like from literally the pages and up, it's been manipulated and, pushed in a way to deceive us. And then just because someone dedicates, 16 years total to something, and they get this, these 3 letters after the name, they think they are just so wicked smart. And I'm sorry, man, if you went to college, you got a PhD, and just because you have an extended vocabulary and I guess a great memory with Adderall and whatnot, whatever, you still don't get it. And it's, and that's coming from a person who quit college because I tried to expose the truth, and I got a D on a public speaking paper because my subject matter was, how money in 1913 was, let's just say it's worth $1 then. It was worth 13 cents in 2011. And I just did a whole presentation, and I actually put up dollar bills and packets of seeds. And basically at the end of it, I was like, if I convinced you that this dollar is only worth 13 cents and this bag of seeds can grow you $100 worth of food, please show me if I convinced you. And a little bit more than half of the class took the seeds. And, these are college kids, $1, they can go buy a Snickers. So I'm pretty sure some of them just took $1 because it was a free dollar. But
Right.
I actually did. I actually had some people take a little packet of 10 seeds, a tomato seed, a pinto bean, whatever. And, but yeah, the teacher gave me a D because she couldn't fail me. And she said, we do not talk conspiracy theories in this class.
Wow. See, that just goes to show you how freaking liberal and brainwashed all of these professors and teachers are in these state and federal funded institutions. Right?
Yeah,
that's like a great example.
And that's what opened my eyes. I was like, you know what? I'm not getting in any more student loan debt. This is it. and I never went back to school. So, but yeah, I tried, and this is when I woke up to the monetary system. I watched this documentary called Melt Up, and I was like, holy shit, this is real, because I started noticing it was getting more expensive. But, this is also a decade ago. But I just tried to teach this, and I was 30 at the time going to school. So I had just a little bit more experience than these, 19-year-olds in community college. So I was really trying to just at least open their eyes a little bit. And like I said, in this speech class, I spoke with my hands. I never said the word because I was in this. I was researching it for like a year, so I was ready. I was ready for this presentation. And like I said, she gave me a D because she couldn't fail me. And it was just so demoralizing. I was like, I see what I'm up against here. You cannot be part of this system and be aware of what's going on and be successful. Because I just looked at my future. I was like, no, I'm not going to change. I'm not going to go back to thinking funny money is real. And so, yeah. And unfortunately, that $26,000 in student loan debt is still there, but I'm going to have to find a way to get out of that. Or you pay it off, whatever. I mean, I did make a dumb mistake by taking out loans, so I got to own that. But yeah, it's crazy, this world, and we are being attacked at all angles. Even when you try to go in there and wake people up, it's not going to happen.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, I just wanted to, while that was fresh in my head and the whole moon thing, thank you very much, Karen, for letting me come on and vent a little bit. I'm really, and this whole vaccine thing, what may contain HIV, is really fucking with me, and it's really pissing me off.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that on Rockfin. We'll go talk about it then after I shut off YouTube, because I didn't shut it off yet because you called.
Okay, well, I apologize for that. I'm not a doctor, and I don't know what the hell I'm talking about, YouTube, so I'm an idiot. However, is this Rockfin stream going to be only for people who pay? Because I'm still not a member on Rockfin, or Twitch is where I can go, right?
Yeah, go to Twitch if you're not a member to Rockfin, yes. I'm still live.
Okay, Karen, thank you so much, Karen. And if I do join Rockfin, I'm joining under your name, because you are one person that I want to support regularly. So look out for that.
All right. Cheers. Thank you so much. Appreciate that.
All right. Bye, Karen. Have a wonderful day.
All right. You too. Okay. I'm going to end the stream on YouTube right now.